In recent years, Korean food industry has become a global phenomenon. The industry has a $1 billion growth rate in Vietnam alone. Korean food has gained huge popularity thanks to movies featuring every corner of its meals and drink. Have you ever wondered if there are underlying values or purposes behind those scenes? So, let's find out how Korea exports their food and drink culture through K-dramas. Our scope study is that we will clarify this matter with semiotics, a cross-disciplinary approach that looks at how meaning is conveyed through science by five romance films: Itaewon Class, Reply 1988, Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo, Hospital Playlist, and Boys Over Flowers. First thing first, soju. In every Korean film, there would be at least several scenes of featuring soju. So, what's more should we know behind the image of soju featured in Korean films rather than just merely an alcohol? In Itaewon Class, Soju creates a chance for the single father to tighten the relationship with his son named Siri through a small drinking etiquette lesson. In terms of kinesics, Siri receives the wine with both hands when he has to pour the wine for the single father. He uses both hands too, and lowers his eye, which represents rockalexis. While drinking, he turns to the right, covers his mouth, and drinks all the wine. When making toast, Siri puts his cup of wine in a lower position than a cup of his father. The set is done in a small, traditional but cozy restaurant with a warm color palette with a wooden wall that is covered by old newspaper. The whole environment is lighted up by yellow bulbs, which contributes to the coziness of such family scene. A special cinematic characteristic in this scene is when Siri tries to rotate the bottle to get the correct hand position to pour the wine. The label is sophisticatedly shown. Besides, when the camera points at the two men from the side, the labels of the soju are also shown. It could be seen that by building up a closer relationship between the single father and his son, who may be sometimes a little bit distant, soju becomes an iconic drink that strengthens the family's relationship. In short, this touching family scene proves to be effective in promoting the image of soju. This is because family is always an important place that stores the most unforgettable memories of a person, so that people tend to open their hearts to family scenes. As a result, integrating soju in such a family scene is an immensely creative strategy in educating interviewers and at the same time instilling the image of soju into their minds. Soju successfully plays its most basic role as an alcohol, which is relieving stress and motivating people to get things off their chest. This is well exemplified in the weightlifting fairy, in which Bok-joo and her boyfriend sit around the table that lies a conventional coal grill in a small traditional restaurant. The wall is decorated with old photos and colorful pieces of paper, which may be the feedback of satisfied customers. After getting drunk, Bok-joo has the courage to confide her love to her boyfriend. One detail that needs to be paid attention is when all those soju bottles on the table stay on the side of Bok-joo. This implicitly means that Bok-joo is the one that is in a bad mood. The bottles are also laid in a way that the labels are clearly visible to the viewers. In this way, the director features soju as a painkiller for people to temporarily forget about the hardship they experienced, and it is also a powerful motivator for friends to share and have a better understanding of each other. Through this scene, Bok-joo might make many viewers sympathize because they could see themselves in the position of Bok-joo. They share the same feelings as hers, which is a psychologically effective strategy to make soju a lasting picture in the memory of the audience. Not only be used for relieving stress or unhappy occasion, but soju is also featured as an effective contributor to the bonding of colleagues and friends. A striking example of this is in Hospital Playlist, when Dr. Lee, a senior doctor, wants to have a better understanding of his interns. He invites them for a meal with soju. In this scene, in terms of proxemics, it could be seen that they gather around a rectangular table, eat fried chicken, and drink soju. The bottles are placed all over the table, which means that they did drink a lot. And the important detail again is labels repeatedly but delicately, shown from different angles. The soju bottles is also used as a spindle for friends to play truth or dare game, which is a popular bonding game among young people. During the meal, they laugh in higher pitch and tend to be more open to share their stories. In this scene, soju is effectively promoted because it is shown in the scene where a group of adults celebrate and share their story, which are not usually told in the workplace. This could be a good boost of sales for soju since the majority of the world's population is people of working age who potentially consume the highest amount of alcohol, usually bonding events like this meal between Dr. Lee and his interns.
Secondly, in South Korean culture, barbecue is conceptualized as a way of bonding between friends and colleagues, as well as making new friends. In hospital playlist, inviting colleagues to eat BBQ is a way of bonding. When eating, the main characters take big bites and devour lots of meat and side dishes. However, it doesn't mean that they are greedy and care about no one. They still share delicious food with each other as a way to show their close-knit relationship. The cinematography also contributes to the success of the spread of Korean food, with the camera looks directly down to the food and then slowly raises up, or the close-up shot from far to near. On the table are main courses such as soup, meat, and rice, accompanied by side dishes called banchan. Most of the foods are in hot colors, which triggers the audience's desire for food. The close-up shot also clearly shows the sound of grilling meat, which is so appetizing that the characters stare at them and show food cravings through their eyes. During the meal, although they hardly talk and their topics are just around food, actually the utterance still presents the intimacy inside.
다 닦게요.
The movie makers sensibly combined the focus of the camera on food with the detail that the characters show intimacy and care to each other. This combination naturally grows into the audience's heart and mind, and then has to popularize BBQ among the working class, because normally everyone needs a warm and comfortable atmosphere to tighten relationships with their co-worker. Apart from strengthening relationships between colleagues, eating barbecue is also a method to make new friends and maintain relationships among teens. We can clearly see this in weightlifting fairy Kim Bok-joo, when the main character, along with her friends, is having a BBQ in a small restaurant to welcome new members to their group.
헬스 주제 잘라, 응? 생양 동양 알지? 아이 그럼 고깃집에선 무조건 생양 동네이지. 그것이 진정한 고깃집 회식. 왜?
The meal is likely to be after school because we can see that they are wearing the uniforms. They freely shout out their group's slogan, which is a type of connection between friends. During the meal, they are devouring with bulging cheeks while simultaneously talking informally. Although we can't smell and eat this food, we still know that they are mouth-watering because of the sound of chewing and the real sound, which appears through the video. When the characters are talking, the sound of grilling meat is lower, and when the camera angle closes up the meat on the BBQ stove, the volume is turned up, accompanied by the image of appetizing bubble rings. Through this scene, the image of delectable meats and close-knit friends possibly imprint on the audience's mind and provoke the thinking that Korean barbecue is delicious, flavorful, and suitable for ones who want to make friends as well as strengthen friendships. And that's what movie makers aim at.
Thirdly, you can't talk about Korean food without talking about kimchi. Being shown many times in various drama, kimchi has become one of the food stories in K-drama. Watching K-drama is like watching the Korean culture and witnessing the daily lives of people in Korea. So, what character concepts can we know behind these images of kimchi featured in these movies?
Well, firstly, kimchi is a tool to enhance solidarity in families and communities in Korea. This cultural concept is expressed in kimjang culture, which means making and sharing kimchi together. Since kimjang is an event in which a lot of people gather, people can communicate with each other and they also can socialize while making kimchi. You might probably see this culture in popular Korean dramas like Poise Over Flowers.
This is a really famous kimchi making scene of Junjanji's family. It can be seen that all family members gather to make kimchi. They stand in a line, pass the cabbages, in turn to the mother. They make fast and match very well. During kimchi making process, they talk a lot and smile happily. This really creates intimacy, attachment, and a close bond between family members. Additionally, Oh Sun-pyo, a rich boy, while seeing Junjanji's family happy to make kimchi, he also wants to join. When seasoning kimchi, they sit really closely and even feed each other. This culture not only promotes solidarity between family members, but also provides a sense of belonging among the communities in Korea, and in this case is the poor and the rich. Viewers also can notice that the producers focus the camera on making and eating kimchi process from watching the cabbages to seasoning them, which apparently introduce kimchi to K-drama watchers and motivate them to try this food. In short, it can be said that this scene is successful to introduce kimjang culture and kimchi food as a tool to promote solidarity of Korean people.
Secondly, food scenes from foreign movies indicate that food connoisseurs will eat kimchi with other food. Kimchi has always been with Korean people, no matter when or where they are. Although it has changed in various ways according to the people who enjoy it, it has always been placed on their table, and no meal will be complete without kimchi. In Red Line 1988, there are many scenes that characters eat noodles with a pot of kimchi. Moreover, in family meals appearing on the movies, they all have kimchi on the table. In hospital playlists, the doctors are having lunch at their workplace. They're eating grilled meat with kimchi and vegetables. From their satisfying expression on their face, it can be seen that it is very delicious when eating kimchi with other food. Viewers know that kimchi is a traditional dish that accompanies every meal served in Korea. Eating kimchi with other foods is a great communication, and only food connoisseurs will know this way of eating.
Well, last but not least, one of the most well-known and beloved Korean dishes that might be ported out in this list is bibimbap, a type of mixed rye. In Red Line 1998 film, Jackson smiles when seeing Lunchbox having an egg. Then everyone looks at each other as a tacit agreement to mix all the lunchboxes to create bibimbap. This activity is performed at the crack rooms with a lot of laugh and pose. The lovely thing here can be seen from the focus of the camera angles is the way they excitedly make the bibimbap with the available and simple food ingredients. This can predispose viewers to see that making bibimbap at school with friends is worth trying, and the fact has proved this. In Vietnam, the effect of creating Korean mixed rye at class has been viral on many social websites, especially on Facebook and TikTok.
The Vietnamese students have imitated this action, having the class members have unforgettable bonding time in the student time.
Based on individual demands, these kinds of mixed rye can be made in order not to prepare many dishes and still have enough nutrients. People can make endless variations to this dish, depending on their preference and dietary requirements. It can be seen from the film that this kind of food does not require much space because all the ingredients and the side dishes are simply just mixed in a pot or bowl.
The success of exporting food culture through K-dramas is one of the main reasons why Korean food is so popular in many countries, including Vietnam. So what about Vietnam? Vietnam is famous for its distinct and diverse cuisines. But sadly, Vietnamese food is rarely featured in romance TV series. Most of the films that represented food and beverage are old dramas like Mùi ngò gai with phở, Vua bánh mì or bánh mì ông Bảy with many kinds of Vietnamese breads and sandwiches, or gạo nếp gạo tẻ with many traditional daily dishes like sticky rice coated with bean, boiled chicken, and fermented shrimp paste noodle. Indispensable part of Vietnamese meals, the fried tofu, which can symbolize a simple, cozy family meal and the skillful hand of a woman in our culture, was featured in episode 60 of Gạo nếp gạo tẻ. The signifier of this popular dish were illustrated in the last scene. In her house yacht, a clumsy girl appearing in casual and comfortable clothes learned to make handful tofu carefully. She continuously followed the process from step to step. From mill the fresh soybeans, heat the soy milk, put it in the right shape, and fry them in hot oil. During the process, she attentively focused on the dish with a tired but eager face. After many failed attempts, the tofu is done successfully. The sweet, crisp tofu with a nice yellow color on the outside, while remaining soft and sticky inside. The signifier of this scene is her attempt in preparing the dish despite lacking skills and experience. If we follow the plot, we can understand that she learned to cook this dish for a fiancé after being criticized by his family due to bad meal preparation. Through this short scene, audience can get the intense romantic love of the girl when she tries to cook a new dish that she has never cooked before. And the ability to serve good handmade tofu on the meal can be considered as a standard factor to be a good wife in some Vietnamese families. After watching some food scenes in Vietnamese romance dramas, our group can find that while Korean film directors tend to focus on eating process to describe the satisfied facial expression of actors and the well-decorated dishes, Vietnamese food scenes often focus more on cooking process to show the special features of Vietnamese such as ingenuity and hard work. However, these films often need a lot of money to be produced. So, instead of spending a large budget to represent our cultural delicacy, filmmakers try to invest more on popular topics like mother-daughter-in-law relationship, love triangle, which can easily attract the concern from the viewers.
Now, our group is eager to offer some valuable suggestions for both the Vietnamese filmmakers and the viewers. In terms of Vietnamese filmmakers, they should produce films with more culinary elements to show our children pride on food culture. To solve budget problems, we think film directors might get sponsorship from local restaurants or food and beverage companies in Vietnam like Phúc Long Tea Chain, Trung Nguyên Coffee, and so on. Or they can learn from Korean film producers to feature the eating process, which can easily show their food's beauty in an economical way.
For example, one of the signature items in Northern Vietnam cuisines, fermented shrimp paste noodle, can be used in romance series. The filmmakers can use the dish to highlight the close relationship among friends. As university students, we can observe that friends often eat to strengthen their bond, and fermented shrimp paste noodle is a good choice because it's cheap. Only with 20 to 30,000 Vietnam dong, anyone regardless of their financial status can buy, and it's also popular because it can be found anywhere in Hanoi street. The cameraman can take a close-up shooting of their eating process. Friends chat to each other while eating comfortably, eating fresh veggie by hand.
Besides, filmmakers can also represent many other Vietnamese cuisines such as snails, Sai Quoc iced tea, Vietnamese drip coffee, Thái Nguyên green tea, and so on.
From the side of viewers, they can understand the hidden message of nonverbal communication in eating in Korean culture, so they can get knowledge of table manners in Korean, which can be very helpful in the future if they have to eat with Koreans. Moreover, people can also learn that they shouldn't set high expectations in interpreting Korean cuisines depicted in films. The food might look mouth-watering, but we have to understand it is just the intention of the filmmakers to make them look more attractive than they actually are. Therefore, people can avoid disappointment in trying these tastes in real life.